Hey everyone, Joe Zealand here, and let's talk about those Wembley acoustic performances, shall we? As you most probably know, Coldplay recently did 10 back-to-back shows at Wembley Stadium. And since it's 10 nights and Coldplay have released 10 albums so far, the band did a pretty neat and kind of unexpected thing, and that is shake up their established setlist for the Music of the Spheres tour to include more songs of each of these 10 albums per night. Most notably, acoustic performances of songs that the band haven't really played in a long time. And what I'm going to do in this video is walk you through a selection of these performances. And I say selection because I have recently already done a few dedicated videos for some of these acoustic songs, specifically High Speed and Speed of Sound. And the aspects that I'm going to be focusing on in this video are the tuning of the song, main chords of the song, the strumming pattern, but also differences between these acoustic performances and the recorded versions. And the way I've structured this is not chronologically, so from early albums to more recent albums, but rather starting off with songs that are in standard tuning, then a couple of songs that are standard tuning adjacent, I want to say, and we'll end the video on the songs that really use alternate tunings that are kind of not really possible to play in standard tuning. So without further ado, strap in and we'll jump right into this. And the first one I'm going to show you is Cemeteries of London. And you can already see I have my guitar here. It's in standard tuning, but with a capo on 6. In that regard, there's absolutely no difference between the recent Wembley performance and the band playing the song during the Viva La Vida tour. First of all, chords. We're starting on an A minor shape, moving on to C major over G. And then you want to play an E minor shape, which you would traditionally play like this. And here's the first tiny difference. Back in the day, Chris would alternate between this classic E minor and this variation of an E minor. 7-7-5 on the E, A, and D string, and then open strings. And what Chris would typically do back in the day, not at Wembley, is alternate pretty regularly between the classic E minor and this variation. So it goes a little like this. Alright, that is the general idea of the verse. Now, you probably noticed that I just played single strokes, and there's already a thing that I also kind of want to mention for each song, and that is how can you really replicate the general dynamics of the song just on acoustic guitar. And in that Wembley performance, Chris just starts the song playing the full strumming pattern, so this is really a reimagined version. But I think if you just want to play the song by yourself, it makes sense to only have these single strokes first. And unfortunately, quote unquote, unfortunately, we can't even talk about these single chords without talking about the time signature of the song. And that really is a doozy. All right, hear me out. I've always counted this as a 4/4 plus 2/4. Now at the Wembley shows though, Chris played the strumming pattern in a way that makes it seem like it's a really fast 3/4 time signature, which once again isn't what's happening in the original recording. So he plays 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, right? And if you count like that, you have a very dominant snare hit in a way, and you emulate this on the acoustic guitar on the second one. So 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. If you know the song, you know that that's absolutely not what the drums, what the rhythm implies here. But let's just play our strumming pattern like this, okay? 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. And that's fine. I mean, you can't count a 6/4 as 2 bars of 3/4, right? But that's not really the rhythm in the original song. And the beat in the original is Boom, boom, chak, boom, chak, 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 boom. That is not a 3/4 time signature, even though you can reinterpret it as such. The rhythm in the original goes a little like this. It's obviously up to you how you want to play the song. If you want to sing over it, both strumming patterns work. I just want to break down this quote-unquote original strumming pattern to you by slowing it all the way down so you can see better where the down and up strokes lie. And the song only has one other part that does have a few new chords. That is the la 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 part. They're weeping, singing la 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 la, and the night over London lay. And I do encourage you, if you play the song by yourself, try out these single strokes for the first verse and the first chorus, and if you want to, you can kind of imply that overall drum pattern with your right hand. Check this out. At night they would go walking till the breaking of the day. The morning is for sleeping. Through the dark streets they go searching to see God in their own way. Save the night time for your weeping. You're weeping, singing la 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 lay. And the night over London lay. So we rode down to the river where Victorian ghosts pray. On to the next song, which is True Love, and I chose True Love as the second song because it has the same exact setup, standard tuning, capo on 6, so we don't have to change anything. And this time we don't have anything to compare it to because Chris has never played True Love on acoustic guitar before. But yeah, the song is in F sharp major, so it makes sense to have a capo on 6. And if we then play C major shape, that is our home chord, because if we ignore the capo, that is an F sharp major, right? There are two main parts, verse and chorus, and then after the second chorus there's a few variations, but we're not going to start with the chords, but with a nice little detail that comes into play with our capo on 6, because the cool thing about this is you can start off the song with the main riff, which you can play really nicely and somewhat easily with this setup. And to make it kind of sound like the recording, I recommend you use palm mute on your strumming hand. No palm mute, palm mute. For a second I was in control. I really always want to show you ways how you can play the song, incorporating as many elements as possible from the original recording just on one guitar, and I think it's kind of nice to start the song like this because that's how the original song starts. But as for the chords, we're starting off on the C major shape, A minor, you can also play it as an A minor 7, E minor, and now it gets really interesting. G minor, which is super interesting because normally you'd expect the 5 chord here, the G major, to be, well, a major chord. Instead, we're gonna play it as a minor chord. And I play it like this. But you can also play classic bar chord G minor. And then D minor, which Chris plays like this. So somewhat of a simplified bar chord with an open high E string. Just a very quick tangent on music theory. We have 4 different minor chords in a row here, which is very unusual for a pop song or whatever kind of song, right? We have A minor shape, E minor shape, G minor shape, and then this D minor shape. Obviously all with respect to the capo. And that to me really makes the song, because otherwise it's somewhat simple in terms of chords, but that sequence of chords is really, really cool. All right, after that A minor, some sort of G major. I play it like this, G with a suspended 4th. You can also let go of your pinky finger here. And then you'll just have an open high E string again. Or even simplify it even more and just play a classic G6 like this. Alright, now strumming pattern wise, Chris at the beginning of the song does also play with palm mute, and then it's pretty downstroke heavy. And whenever you switch between chords, you can include this, a semi-quaver up and down stroke, did-up. But if you want to open the song at some point, which makes sense, you can, which is what Chris does, continue with the upstrokes. Tell me you love me if you don't lie. Oh, lie to me. But whenever I catch myself just playing the song by myself and not really trying to emulate this performance, I use a different strumming pattern, which is really just up, down, up, down. For a second I was in control. I've had it once, I've lost it though. And all along the fire below would rise. And I wish you would have let me know what's really going on below. I've lost you now, you've let me go. But one last time, tell me you love me if you don't lie. Oh, lie to me. Alright, now those variations that I mentioned at the beginning, they come into play after the second chorus. So if you don't then lie, oh, lie to me. Call it true, call it true love. Call it true, call it true love. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. Back to the main river. Woo! And that's it. That's all I can say about True Love. Not really anything else to add to this one. Now moving on to a song which I absolutely loved when X and Y first came out, called The Hardest Part. I do have the single right here, and I have so much to say about X and Y, also about this song, but this is not the time and place. Let's just focus on this Wembley performance. And I count this as one of two songs that I call standard adjacent at the beginning of the video. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but what I mean by it is that in the original recording, it is very, very clearly played in standard tuning. But now for the Wembley show, Chris plays it in a different tuning, which is still standard adjacent, and you don't really have to change much about the chords between these versions. So what I'm going to do is show you the general idea, strumming pattern chords for the standard version, and then towards the end of this section, I'll also show you how you can replicate the tuning Chris uses in the Wembley performance without actually having to change the tuning. Hashtag capo trick. Standard tuning for now. Capo on the 3rd fret, and right away we can start the song. Once again, especially if you just want to play the song by yourself, we can incorporate this signature little riff or lick. Open A, 3rd fret on the G string, back to open A, onto 2nd fret on the A string, and then our first chord, C, C major over G. Alright, so that's C major over G, E minor, then I play A minor, a classic A minor. You could also play it as A minor 7 again. The picking pattern from the lead guitar here kind of implies a suspended chord here. Anyways, back to C major, and then D sus4. Into and resolve it as you typically do with a D major. And now for the verse, E minor, C major, G major, and then this somewhat of a reduced bar chord. Kind of looks like a B minor shaped bar chord, but similar to what I showed you in True Love. You only want to have your index finger on the 2nd fret of the A string and don't use it as a bar right here. And then 4 on the D string, open G string, 3rd fret on the B string, and open E string, which makes for this really interesting chord, which is again one of Chris's favorite chords, though he uses it in so many other songs. That's the entire chord sequence for the verse. And then we move to the chorus, C major. And I could feel it go down. C major shape, G major shape, D major shape. So really nice and simple. You can mix it up a little bit and include little bits and pieces of the other instruments here. And I could feel it go down. Bittersweet, I could taste in my mouth. I could feel it go down. Repeat that riff twice, and then on the 4th round, oh, and E minor, D major, C major, C over B, A minor, and back into the verse riff. The second chorus, which is something Chris actually messed up at the Wembley show, you want to repeat that I part. Oh, and oh, but this time we don't end on A minor, but on D major. I wonder what it's all about. And And then we move back into the intro riff, which is like a nice bookend to the song. The song ends as it began. So yeah, in the original recording, in the verse particularly, you can very clearly make out some of these classic chord shapes. It's 100% played in standard tuning on the original song. But for the Wembley show, Chris did use a different tuning, which is one of his favorite alternate tunings. I've talked about it so much on the channel. You just have to change one string, and that is the high E string, which you want to tune down to D. However, if you have two capos, you don't have to do that. You can leave your guitar in standard tuning, as I do now. Standard tuning, put one capo on the first fret, cover all 6 strings with it, and then you want to put your second capo on the 3rd fret. However, you want to leave the high E string uncapoed. And basically the second capo now kind of works as a partial capo. I've talked about it extensively on another video, which I will link down below. If you do have 2 capos, preferably slim ones like these ones, you don't have to go out and buy a new separate partial capo. You can have the same effect with regular capos. And now if you play an E minor, sounds like this. And this is the tuning that Chris uses for the hardest part at those Wembley shows, or at that Wembley show singular. The chords all stay the same except for one. Our G major is now much simpler. You can just play it like this. You don't need your pinky finger on the 3rd fret of the high E string. We can now play an open high E string. Everything else stays the same. And yes, I do get why Chris would play it in this tuning. It does sound really nice in this tuning as well. Alright, on to the next song, which I have at the beginning of the video listed as standard adjacent. Once again, why standard adjacent? Once more, a discrepancy between the Wembley performance and the original recording, even though this time it's not that clear. I do think that on the original recording, Up and Up is played in standard tuning. Just check out the chorus, it works so well with just basic standard chords. G major, D major, F major 7, F sus2, C major. However, that is not the tuning Chris uses in the Wembley performance, and honestly, if I want to play the song just on acoustic guitar just by myself and make it sound as much as possible as the original, then I'm with Chris. I honestly wouldn't play it in standard tuning. And this time, we can't use our magic capo trick. We actually do have to change a string. For the Wembley show, this was played in E, A, D, G, B, D. So standard tuning, except the high E string, which is tuned down to D. And this time, unfortunately, there's no way around it. So let's go ahead and do it. Whoops. There we go. Yep, same tuning as Trouble. Now, Coldplay did release a separate kind of behind the scenes reel on Instagram for Up and Up. And it's very easy to see the chords there because the camera just is like full on the acoustic guitar there. And the main riff Chris plays here goes like this in this tuning. So we have our G major variation here, 10, 10, 9, 8. And for D major, move it down to 5, 5, 4, 3 with open G and open E. And now we can play classic E minor, just like this. You can also play it like this. Once again, a bar chord looking chord, but it's not a bar chord. 7 on the A string, 9 on the D string, open G. 8 on the B string, and open E. What I did there, not a classic C major, which you can play if you just want to reduce the song to its like bare bone chords, right? Then it's G major, D major, E minor, C major. However, what works nicely in this tuning is basically emulating the main riff played on the piano. So the combining harmony and melody, and that's always really cool on acoustic guitar, I think. Up and up, up and up, down upon again, just working meal and meal, waiting for a chance to pick your orange field. Up and up, up and up, and we're gonna get it together right now. We're gonna get it together somehow. We're gonna get it together and fly. That is just something that you can do if you want to. That's how I play the song when I play it by myself. Sorry, getting sidetracked by Coldplay deep cuts here, but yeah, that also is the same tuning in Wedding Bells. Back to Up and Up, there's another way you can play that main riff, which I also like because it kind of includes or implies that lead guitar, which is really cool. It's rough, sing. And now for the chorus, you can keep playing these C major looking chords, just moved up to 10, 10, 9, 8. We're gonna get it down to D major, 5, 5, 4, 3. And now F major, 8, 8, 7, 6, same chord, and now C major. Really nice, unexpected F major here, meaning we have 4 unique major chords in a row, which is also not that common. We're gonna get it together right now. Gonna get it together somehow. Gonna get it together and fly. Whoa. But you can also play a classic G major without our pinky. A reduced classic D major, played like this. Doesn't sound that nice because it doesn't have the major third in there. I do think this sounds nicer. And then F major 7, which you can then switch up in the middle of the bar to F sus2 and C major. We're gonna get it together right now. We're gonna get it together somehow. We're gonna get it together and fly. Whoa. And that's it. Song only has these 2 chord sequences, and yeah, works really well in this tuning, so go ahead and give it a try. Now, onto the last song that I've picked from these Wembley acoustic performances, Us Against the World. Something struck me about that song that I'm also doing another video on, and Us Against the World. So here it goes. Us Against the World, if you want to play it as close as possible to the original, it's not really possible in standard tuning. I have my capo on 4 here. Typically, you want to have it on 3, but I can tell you the general idea of the tuning here. E string stays in standard tuning, A string stays in standard tuning, D string stays in standard tuning. Now the G string is tuned down to F sharp. This would be G, or F sharp. And the B string is tuned down to A. The high E string also stays in standard tuning though. So it's a pretty unique alternate tuning. Whenever I tune my guitar to this tuning, I really don't know what else to play other than Us Against the World. However, this has changed now, but we'll get to that at the end of the video. So yeah, if we play open strings, it doesn't really sound like much. If we leave out the low E string though, it kind of does sound like a full chord, so it's almost an open tuning. I guess it's a D major add 9. Our first chord 5-7-7 onto 5-7-7-5. And this time, unlike Cemeteries of London, we really do want to count this as a very quick 3-4 rhythm or a very slow 4-4 time signature. So I always count it in my head as 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2  That's almost it already. That's it. That's the entire song except for that little chorus moment. Through chaos as it swirls, it's us against the world. And now back to this, I guess an E major, E sus4. E major, E sus4. The only variation for that part comes at the very end of the song after the solo, where we don't stay on the D major but rather move to, well, it qualifies as an F sharp minor. Through chaos as it swirls, it's us against the world. If that is too high up for you on the fretboard, which I understand, I specifically used a guitar with a cutaway here, otherwise it's a little uncomfortable. You can also play an easier D major, just like this. Just 5 on the A string, ignore the low E string, 5 on the A string, and the rest is open strings. You can also play like this, 5-7, 7 on the D string. And now just move from 5 to 4. And you basically get the same chord. Through chaos as it swirls, it's us against the world. I said at the beginning of this segment, I realized if we actually tune every string 1 semi-step lower than Us Against the World is usually tuned to. Typically you want to leave the low E string in standard tuning. But if you drop it to E flat, and if you drop A to A flat, and if you drop D to D flat, now G, you don't want to tune it to F sharp, but just F. Now the B string, don't tune it to A, but to A flat. And the high E string, tune it to E flat. So it's the same exact tuning as Us Against the World, just dropped a semi-step for every string. Should sound a little like this. You can still play Us Against the World, cape on the 4th fret. Emphasis 4th fret now, because we've dropped it 1 semi-note, so not on the 3rd fret, but on the 4th fret. Alright, but if we take off our capo now, check this out. I used to rule the world, see that's a little sneak preview of a song that I've had in the back burner for a long time, Viva La Vida acoustic, played the traditional acoustic way. I know that recently Chris has been using a different alternate tuning for Viva La Vida, which I've also touched upon already in another video, but this is the traditional Viva La Vida acoustic tuning, and it so happens to be the same exact tuning as Us Against the World, just dropped down a semi-note. So now whenever I do want to play Us Against the World, I tune it like this, because at least you can also play Viva La Vida acoustic. So as always, folks, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. So much more Coldplay stuff coming your way, and I'll see you on the next video. Joe Zealand, out.